Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about top 12 multi-chrome eyeshadows from Clionadh Cosmetics. They have a big restock coming up, as well as they're launching some new shades, and I thought this would be useful for anyone who is interested in the restock. And I did separate these into two different categories. So one is kind of the most shifty. These are not all the most shifty shades. These are just 6 that I did select from all the shadows that I own, which I think 99.9% of the stained glass collection, and some of these were gifted to me and some of these I did purchase myself. And then for the other 6 shadows, I want to pick out some neutral shades so you kind of get a little bit of both. So let's start off with the most shifty shades, and these are in no particular order, but this one is Oculus. This is a black based jeweled multi-chrome, so if you blend this one you will reveal the black base underneath, but this one is just so shiny and very, very shifty. As you can see, it goes from like a teal to a blue to a purple, all the way to a gold. Next up is Smoulder. This is also a black based jewel multi-chrome. Now this is a very, very common shade, which Oculus is also pretty common to find among different brands, but this one is very shifty just because of the nature of the colors that are shifting. It just looks like much of a harsher shift. So this one is really just like an OG kind of multi-chrome, definitely a staple, and these two black based multi-chromes are, I believe, their most expensive multi-chromes. Next up is Mural, and this is an electric formula multi-chrome, so this one has almost no base. It's a little bit more sheer, and for this one, depending on the color of the base you put this on top, it will bring out the different shifts. If you put it over orange, you will really bring out the orange shift, and then if you put it over green, you will definitely bring out the green shift. But this one is so beautiful, one of my most favorite shades from Clionadh for sure. Next up is Hilt. This is also an electric multi-chrome, and this one just has so many different things going for it because it's got like a slightly almost light teal aqua base to it, and then straight on it looks pink, and then it shifts all the way from like a green to a yellow. So there's just so much going on, such a dimensional shade. The shift is very, very easy to see. Next up is Niello, also an electric multi-chrome. There's definitely a theme going on here, and this one has a much lighter base to it, and this one just looks so different in different lighting, different angles. I don't even know exactly how to describe it, but it's so dimensional. I mean, look at the way it looks now, and then look at the way it looks now. It's such a beautiful, colorful shift, and it just looks absolutely magical on the eyes. And then next up is Trinket. This is a glitter multi-chrome, which does not mean that it has glitter in it. It's just that it's so sparkly and really shiny. It has a little bit more texture to it than the previous 5 shadows. This one has an orange, almost like a burnt orange base, and it just has such a beautiful shift. This one almost could be considered more of a neutral shade, but I do feel like because it has so much dimension and shift going on that I wanted to put it in this category. Onto the neutral category. Now this one does have a strong shift, but this is Weld, and it's just such a unique black base multi-chrome. It is the only black base multi-chrome I will feature in the neutral category, and this one goes all the way to green, so borderline belongs in the other category as well. But this one is just such a great shadow to wear with some taupey matte shadows, brown shadows. Out of all the jewel multi-chromes, it is the most neutral. Next up is Sceptre, and this one is super, super smooth, and not the shiniest by any means, not the sparkliest, but it is very smooth. It's got like a peachy tone to it, and the shift is a little bit more subtle, partially because it shifts to yellow. And I do have a whole dedicated video on the pearlescent eyeshadows, which are meant to be the more neutral multi-chrome shadows, more wearable shadows from Clionadh. Though I do feel like when I was picking these out, I felt like Clionadh overall has a lot of everyday wearable multi-chromes. They might not seem like it when you first look in the pen, but when you swatch it, and also depending on the mattes that you pair it with, there's lots of options. Next up is Cobblestone, which is an earth vibrant multi-chrome. This one is mauvey, kind of straight on, and then just to yellow, almost a little bit maybe to like a lime green. And this one does have just a little bit of a base, but not necessarily like a dark base. A little bit closer to their deep iridescent multi-chromes, and it is very smooth. Definitely this one would be great to pair with some mauvey mattes. Chalice, which is a hybrid multi-chrome, which I think a lot of the hybrid multi-chromes are a little bit more neutral leaning. And this one is, the shift is very, very subtle. It's actually maybe even more of like a duochrome. It has a burnt brownish orangish base to it, and this one is great to pair with any sort of neutral warm matte shadows. Next up is Blaze, and this one is such a beautiful, smooth, shiny, but not necessarily sparkly kind of neutral shadow. It's got a little bit of pink to it, but I think you can neutralize this even more depending on the matte shadows that you throw in the crease or the outer corner, or that you layer this on top of. And then for the 6th shadow in this category, I chose Adornment, which is also a glitter multichrome. Again, no glitter, it's just extra glitzy, extra sparkly, and shiny as you can see, but it doesn't really have a strong base. You could shear this one out, or you could use a tacky primer to get this to be more opaque. And this one has actually a lot of shifts going on, but again, I think this is a great one and done kind of shadow, and you could amp this one up if you paired it with some more colorful mattes. But this one is such a beautiful shade. It might not be everyone's cup of tea because of how shiny it is, but I thought this would be a good option to throw in here because the other shadows were much smoother and a little bit less shiny. So I hope this video was helpful. I will put down all of the restock information down in the description box, as well as a pinned comment. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.